we need to sacrifice.
Mm.
So when there's a siren, come out, and then we all come out
Mm.
to help each other. Like
Okay.
that. So that's the Newtown movement, like that,
Mhm.
all together.
Yeah.
So I know some African countries want to introduce that Newtown movement, but not so successful
Okay.
because they didn't have the same attitude as Korean people,
Mhm.
like that.
Mm.
So that attitude is very important.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cooperation
Mhm.
and working spirit is very important. So when the government sirened and then we all came together like that, that spirit we need to have also like that. Okay.
Mm.
Arrow
Mm.
professor said
Okay.
that if Korea goes like this and unified with North Korea
Mhm.
and keep up this trend,
Okay.
this pace, and then like 30 years later,
Mm.
Korea will be G2.
Okay.
Korea had no electricity.
Mhm.
Electricity almost 90% in North Korea. When
Okay.
Korea was liberated from Japan.
Yeah.
Japan developed North Korea because North Korea had a lot of natural resources.
Mm.
So Japan, in their colonial rule, they developed the industry in North Korea.
Yeah.
South Korea only the rice field or something like that, agricultural a little bit.
Yeah.
Even agricultural products are bankrupt
Mhm.
and no money and nothing, and then
Yeah.
you need to survive and you need to build it from the beginning like that.
Yeah.
So that sacrifice spirit is very important. You know, that sacrifice spirit I cannot see from my African colleagues.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
so maybe when I have time I can give 2 examples.
Okay. Mm.
If
Yeah,
now
please.
if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have time,
Please give us. Yeah.
Yeah, 2
Yeah.
examples is that when
Yeah.
I went to Africa, you know,
Yeah.
the field, the land is really vast. You know,
Mm.
if Korean people were there,
Yeah.
they would develop all the countries.
Mhm.
Even maybe you can observe, you know, even the like a handful of a land,
Yeah.
Korean people sow something there.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
But when I went to Africa,
Yeah.
so vast field, they didn't sow anything. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
If Korean people were there, they saw a lot of plantations there.
Yeah.
To even develop the agricultural development. Some
Yeah.
people say agricultural development don't make money. No. So when I saw there, I found out the farm's name is Lee's farm, Kim's farm, Park's farm.
Okay.
So Korean people
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the owner of the farm.
Wow.
So because Park is Korean name.
In Africa?
In Africa.
Yeah, okay.
I saw, I passed by, it's like the Park's farm.
Yeah.
Kim's farm.
Okay.
And Lee's farm.
Mm.
You know. So
Oh, really nice to meet you again, Pastor Stephen.
yeah, I'm so happy.
The last
to see you
2 and 3 weeks, really, we mentioned a lot of things about you, starting from your childhood experience and so on, about Korean development and so on. You already give us a lot of message to global audience.
Yes.
So really, I am so happy for our time and so on. So today in our session, I wanted to ask you, what do you explain? You know, last time we mentioned about the working culture of Korean society and so on.
Yes.
You already mentioned that you traveled to Ghana and you have a question about the hospitality or the working experience of in the hotel, you know. They take a lot of time to do something, you know, but we know that in Korea, you know, even if we know that the Korean working culture is, you know, Bali, just, you know, fast, you know, it's very, very important. We know that, we understand that, not only me, the global world know that, within short period of time. The secret of Korean development is they are hardworking people. You know, they don't want to make the work for tomorrow, for next week. No, if there is work, they have an experience of the quickly finish work experience. So if you work quickly, you know, we can develop quickly. We will bring change in the world. Even if you mentioned that, even if it's possible to say, if we see the Korean health system, insurance system is, you know, exemplary. Yes. Even if from, you know, US or Canada and so on. Boldly we can say like that. Really, Korea is an experienced country, a big country, great country. Every country could get lesson from Korean experience.
That's right. Yeah.
So, nice to meet you for today's session. So, how do you explain Korean working and cultural good heritage? This is a question, but maybe if you think the remaining thing from last time's discussion, right, yeah. You can start from that and you can go this. The other point also, if you wanted to relate, because you are man of God, you are pastor with different kinds of knowledge and so on. So if you wanted to relate this thing with your profession, you know, with your the calling, okay. Because yes. you have a chance to say anything to the global world. Okay. So you can start.
Yeah. Well, as I said, you know, former sessions that
yeah.
The major factor is gospel. Said it is very important, you know. Maybe you say, that's everybody can say that it is gospel, is the help of God. But I have observed with my eyes and my knowledge.
Yeah.
In 100, 200 years ago, Korean people were not like that. They were, you know, their life, I didn't see, but I saw from some documents and from the books.
Okay.
And also from my imagination. They were not like that now.
Okay.
And so now, in my eyes, in my imagination, it's captured with the scene in Ghana and like 100, 200 years ago, Korean people.
Okay.
Almost the same, like that. That image, that scene was overlapped like that.
Okay.
So that's why it's a miracle. And you say that it is a heritage. But I don't want to focus on heritage because it was the same.
Okay.
100 years ago, the people's life was exactly the same as the life in the poor country now, like that.
Yeah.
You understand? So so that's why I said the major factor is gospel.
Okay.
After they receiving the gospel, and their whole life has changed really.
Okay.
And that working spirit, not from the ancestor. Ancestors, they were lazy. They did all. I mean, what should I say? The gambling. You know, only that they work. You know, during the warm weather. It's a cold country. You know, in winter time.
Yeah.
They didn't work at all. They couldn't work at all, and they did all gambling.
Okay.
And they just smoking and drinking. They spend their days in the past. That I know. Even my former generation, my father's generation. Okay. But in this, I mean, within about 67 years.
Okay.
Whole picture changed here in Korea.
Yeah.
And So some people say that Korean people have a good working spirit from the ancestor.
Yeah.
I don't think that is the secret.
Mhm.
The secret is, as
You
I
mean
said,
in that time there was no experience, there was no at the beginning we couldn't get this kind of hardworking
that's right,
experience.
that's right. But I know they have some good attitude too. That we need to be honest and we need to be work hard. Kind of that spirit
Yeah.
they had from the father or grandfather. So my father worked hard. That we also received that working spirit too. And but now I'm concerned about our future generations working spirit.
Okay.
They were not like us. Okay, we knew that we need to sacrifice. So when there's a siren, come out, and then we all come out to help each other. Like
Okay.
that. So that's the Newtown movement, like that, all together.
Yeah.
So I know some African countries want to introduce that Newtown movement, but not so successful
Okay.
because they didn't have the same attitude as Korean people, like that. So that attitude is very important. Okay,
Yeah.
so cooperation and working spirit is very important. So when the government sirened and then we all came together like that, that spirit we need to have also like that. Okay, and one tradition is Koreans suffered a lot. According to Korean history, Korea never invaded any other country. But Korea was invaded so many times from China, from Manchuria, from Japan. So Korea really suffered a lot and experienced really, disaster by Chinese people, by Japanese people.
Okay.
We always were victims. Korean people were victims.
Okay.
So so some theologians say Korean have kind of a resentment theology like that. That Han in Korean word.
Yeah.
That is kind of a liberation theology in Latin America, like that. So Korean people were so persecuted by the neighboring nations.
Okay.
Koreans have developed their resentment inside of their heart, their DNA, like that.
Okay.
So Korean people suffered a lot. But that suffering is the gift of God. So we need to overcome.
You mean that sometimes suffering, when we suffer, yes, it's the will of God also. So that suffering, it gives us another strength to come out from that
That's
situation.
Right. So Korean people have been trained by that suffering.
Okay.
So that's what American missionaries 100, 200 years ago, they wrote.
Yeah.
And Korean people suffered and they regarded it as their life. You know, like that?
Yeah.
So they regarded suffering as my life, like that. That's our life, like that. You know?
Wow.
So which means that we shall overcome anyhow.
Yeah.
That spirit we have, and that is right in my own experience too. That never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up experience. Spirit.
Yes.
That is one of the key factor to develop like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Pastor, you said that you said that in the middle of your discussion, we are thinking about coming generation. I have a question. Sometimes yes, Korea is very advanced country, especially in technology also.
Right.
Sometimes I heard that in the news, on the newspaper, I read that nowadays the coming generation, the new generation, because of the mobile technology and so on, there is laziness and so on.
That's right.
Even if
That's right.
some students they take long time they didn't go to bed early, so
That's
it
right.
has impact on their education studies. Even it can be also even if the old people for their workplace and so on, teachers, if they didn't manage their time properly, it will be difficult. So do you have do you say something about for the
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good point. You know,
Hmm.
so for the future, if they don't, our future generation,
Yeah.
future generation, second, third generation,
yeah
if they wouldn't follow up, and Korea would not be really so much developed in the future, not so much advanced. You know, Korea can be caught up by African nation too. Ethiopia can catch up with us also too.
yeah
If you really develop really hard from now on. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm concerned about our future generation. They sleep late, they're lazy, they don't have
Yeah.
that attitude or spirit
Yeah.
that we have, our ancestor, our former generation have. Then, you know, I don't guarantee prosperity of Korea in the future. That's what I talk to the young people,
Yeah.
really.
Could you mention some of them? What's the problem? Really, what's the problem? What you fear? What
One
kind of
problem
attitude
is
you
that
observe? Yeah.
gospel is not working any longer now. So now young generation,
Yeah.
they don't accept gospel.
They focus
are
on
so secular.
fashion, celebrities, and
Yeah,
something.
they focus on something else. So much secular, not on the gospel. It's the same as Europe and USA too.
Yeah.
Their ancestors were so much based on gospel, on that spirituality. But later they gave that up. Even USA now
Yeah.
too. So there's no guarantee for prosperity in the future
Yeah.
in Europe and in USA also and Canada also.
Yeah.
So things change. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't give up and don't be disappointed at now.
Yeah.
But look forward to the future, and then you will become better than Korea in the future.
Okay.
Yeah. But if Korea continue to develop with the
Okay.
same spirit, that I believe, and this prosperity will continue, and that's what the Harvard University Robert Barrow professor said,
Okay.
that if Korea goes like this and unified with North Korea and keep up this trend,
Okay.
this pace, and then like 30 years later, Korea will be G2, which means G1 Korea and G1 USA, G2 Korea, like that. The
Wow.
second biggest and the richest country in the world.
Yeah.
That's-
Now it's Chinese. But the
Yeah,
Korea can't take it.
now China.
Yeah.
But that's what they are prophecy for the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So two options here. So we are now at a turning point.
Yeah.
So that's why even I'm Christian pastor, but I'm working for the Korea Patriotism
Yeah.
and also U.S. Rock Alliance, and fighting against the communistic trend in this South Korea. So I really want to keep up that free marketing system and then free democracy and rock the U.S. Alliance and Christian nation building. That I want to continue with that. So
Yeah.
so for the rest of my life, I do it and based on gospel. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my life from now,
Yeah.
and so I want to talk to the young people here. You have two choices. If you become G2 or you become
Yes.
a poor country like North Korea.
Yeah. Wow.
North Korea, they 70 years ago, they picked up communism. 70 years ago.
Yeah.
70 years ago, North Korea is much richer than South Korea. Much richer at the time.
Yeah.
South Korea hit the bottom, and North Korea in the middle at the time. because North Korea had at the time abundant natural resources.
Okay.
Korea had no electricity. Electricity almost 90% in North Korea. When
Okay.
Korea was liberated from Japan.
Yeah.
Japan developed North Korea because North Korea had a lot of natural resources. So Japan, in their colonial rule, they developed the industry in North Korea.
Yeah.
South Korea only the rice field or something like that, agricultural a little bit.
Yeah.
Even agricultural products are scarce even South Korea. So you see South Korea not the big rising or vegetation fields. You know that.
Yeah.
And so North Korea, 90% of electricity, all industry on North Korea. That's what Japanese colonial, rule, the government, they did it.
Yeah.
You understand? So when Korea was divided, North Korea was rich, but South Korea was poor. But the very important thing is 70 years ago. 70 years ago, North Korea chose communism under Kim Il-sung,
Yeah.
under the control of a continent, Asian continent, Russia, Soviet Union, and China,
Yeah.
communist China, Mao Zedong.
Yeah.
And they got along with for 70 years. Okay, and South Korea from poverty hit the bottom
Yeah.
country. No resources.
Yeah.
Only a little vegetation only, like that. From there started industry. No factories in South Korea. So from small country,
From
in
the
the
scratch,
beginning,
yeah.
in the beginning they did kind of actually in the beginning, the women, they cut the hair, and the number one exporting item is hair. South Korea.
Yeah.
South Korea exported
Their women's here.
women's hair to USA. Something like that. That's the
Yeah.
number one item.
Yeah.
Now,
From the scratch. When because you start from the scratch,
That's
from
right.
the zero level. Yeah.
yeah. And so that's
'Cause
that.
is it possible to mention the other thing also? I heard that
Yeah.
this development comes. We already mentioned in the previous section also. The commitment of the people is great. Even if the women they cut their hairs,
Yeah, that's
they
right,
export
that's right.
like that.
That's right.
Is there any other things? I heard that in some companies, I don't know, Samsung or something at the beginning, he told for the workers, he said, there is no budget and so on. So the workers, they leave their salaries and so on. Like they, there is a unity, there is a corporate.
That's right, that's right,
Yeah,
that's
could
right.
you mention some of them, the other things beside the hair?
Oh yeah. That is as I said, a sacrificing spirit. Yeah, we need to endure this all together.
Maybe giving their gold to.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. That's the IMF period. So they have a gold, expensive gold.
Yeah.
That
They give for the country.
They gave up for the country. So because the country is on collapse. Collapsed like that.
Yeah.
And bankrupt. What I'm saying is bankrupt. So what do you say? If your house bankrupt, what do you say? You need to provide whatever you have.
Yeah.
Even your clothes, you need to sell.
Yeah.
Your house is bankrupt, and no money and nothing, and then you need to survive, and you need to build it from the beginning, like
Yeah.
so. That sacrifice spirit is very important. That sacrifice spirit I cannot see from my African colleagues. So maybe when I have time, I can give 2 examples.
Okay.
If
Yeah,
now,
please.
if you have time,
Please give us. Yeah.
2 examples is that 2 examples, maybe three examples also.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of examples.
It's possible.
When I went to
the floor is yours.
when I went to Africa,
Yeah.
the field, the land is really vast. If Korean people were there, they would develop all the countries. Even maybe you can observe, even the like a handful of a land.
Yeah.
Korean people sow something there.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
But when I went to Africa,
Yeah.
so vast field, they didn't sow anything. They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
If the Korean people were there, they saw a lot of plantations there.
Yeah.
To even develop the agricultural development. Some
Yeah.
people say agricultural development don't make money. No. So when I saw there, I found out the farm's name is Lee's farm, Kim's farm, Park's farm.
Okay.
So Korean people
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the owner of the farm.
Wow.
So because Park is Korean name.
In Africa?
Yeah, in Africa.
Yeah, okay.
I passed by, it's like the Park's farm.
Yeah.
Kim's farm.
Okay.
And Lee's farm.
Mm.
You know. So why you guys, you African people, you guys, why you don't develop your own land and just make it waste?
Yeah.
Yeah, you develop. You know, you do it, and God will help.
Yeah.
God gives
Yeah.
sunshine and rain, and
Yes.
Africa has a great, wonderful
Yeah.
weather there.
Yeah.
You know, Korea only one time rice, but
Yeah.
there you can do it 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Every season
Mhm.
you can harvest because all year long
Yeah.
good weather. But Korea
Yeah.
winter, you see, we cannot do anything.
Yeah.
Only spring and summertime. Only once.
Yeah.
So, but that suffering,
Yeah.
that scarcity
Yeah.
is the blessing
Mhm.
of God
Yeah.
that I regard.
Yeah.